The iPhone 17 is almost here. After months of speculation, leaks, and endless rumors, we are now at the point where things are starting to feel real. And in this first part of the video, I want to take you through all of the design changes, hardware tweaks, and confirmed details that have surfaced just days before launch. This isn't just about what the phone looks like on the outside, it's about what Apple has been working on behind the scenes to make this iPhone stand apart from every model before it. Let's start with the design. For months, people have been whispering about a new camera bar. At first, it sounded like a simple redesign, a way for Apple to change the look without changing much else. But now, we know that the camera bar isn't just for style. It's directly tied to a major shift in how the antennas on the iPhone 17 Pro are going to work. On previous iPhones, antennas were hidden in small transparent cutouts at the top and bottom edges. If you look at an iPhone 16 or even an iPhone 15, you'll see these thin slots around the corners. They don't look like much, but they're crucial for making sure the phone can handle Wi-Fi, 5G, and all the wireless signals we take for granted. On the iPhone 17 Pro, Apple is rethinking that system entirely. Instead of those tiny cutouts, Apple is extending the antenna slots along the sides of the phone and wrapping them around the new camera bar itself. If that design sounds familiar, it's because Apple has already used a similar approach with the Apple Watch Ultra. That watch uses antennas that wrap around its top frame, funneling cellular signals more efficiently. Now Apple is adapting that same engineering for the iPhone. This means the larger camera bar isn't just an aesthetic change. It's a functional element tied directly to wireless performance. Even if it doesn't immediately mean faster 5G or radically better Wi-Fi speeds, it does suggest that Apple is preparing the iPhone for the future of connectivity. Maybe not right away, but eventually, this new antenna design could allow for stronger, more reliable connections in places where older iPhones struggle. Now, when we're talking about the design, we can't ignore the two-tone look. This year, the Pro models are confirmed to be coming with a mix of aluminum and glass. That's different from the titanium frame we saw on the iPhone 15 Pro and 16 Pro. At first, a lot of people were upset about this. Titanium felt premium. It was strong, lightweight, and exclusive. So why is Apple moving back to aluminum? The answer, surprisingly, seems to be about heat. Titanium looks nice, but it doesn't handle thermal conductivity as well as aluminum. Simply put, titanium traps heat. For a device like the iPhone, which now pushes harder than ever with things like gaming, camera processing, and multitasking, heat dissipation is critical. If your phone gets too hot, performance throttles. Apps lag. The experience drops. With aluminum, Apple has a material that disperses heat faster. Combine that with the new vapor chamber cooling system rumored for the iPhone 17 Pro, and suddenly it makes sense. Apple isn't just switching materials randomly. They're engineering the phone so it can handle heavier workloads without overheating. In other words, aluminum may not sound as premium, but it's a smarter choice for performance. And this ties directly into another rumor: Apple may have teased this decision in the event artwork itself. Some analysts believe the colors in the teaser image look like a heat map, shifting from cooler blues to warmer reds. If that's true, it could be Apple's subtle way of telling us the iPhone 17 is built around better thermal management. And if that's the case, titanium had to go. But the material isn't the only surprise. We also have a confirmed leak around Apple's so-called clear case. And the funny part is, it isn't really clear anymore. In leaked photos of the official iPhone 17 Pro clear case, there's a solid white block at the bottom. The reason? Apple is moving the MagSafe ring further down the back of the phone. If they left the case fully transparent, you'd see a lopsided design with the Apple logo in the middle and the MagSafe ring shifted lower. And to be honest, it would look ugly. Apple's solution? Cover it up. Make the bottom portion opaque, so you can't see the MagSafe hardware. But this also highlights a bigger change: MagSafe is evolving. Not only is the position shifting, but reports suggest Apple has been testing reverse wireless charging for the Pro models. That means your iPhone 17 Pro could charge your AirPods, or even your Apple Watch, directly from the back of the phone. This is huge. Think about traveling with fewer chargers. No need to pack an Apple Watch puck. No need for extra accessories. Your phone becomes the charger. And with the redesigned MagSafe area acting almost like a mini wireless pad, it feels like Apple is setting up a new selling point. The iPhone 17 Pro isn't just a phone, it's part of your charging ecosystem. Of course, there's still a trade-off. That aluminum body might not feel as luxurious as titanium, and the new clear case doesn't feel very clear. But if the payoff is better thermal performance, reverse charging, and more functionality, many users may see it as worth it. Now, let's move to the display. There's still a lot of debate about whether the dynamic island is shrinking this year. Some rumors say yes, some say no. But what does seem consistent across leaks is that the Pro displays will be brighter. Right now, the iPhone 16 Pro peaks around 2000 nits outdoors. With the iPhone 17 Pro, we could be looking at 3000 nits, similar to the Apple Watch Ultra. That's not just a marketing number. If you've ever struggled to see your screen on a sunny day, you know how much of a difference this makes. And if Apple can pull this off while still improving battery life, it would be a big win. Speaking of battery, that's another area where Apple is promising big improvements. Multiple leaks suggest this will be the best battery life in iPhone history. That's a bold claim. But the leaks back it up. Apple is reportedly making the battery packs larger while redesigning their internal layout. Combine that with the vapor chamber cooling system, which keeps the phone from overheating and throttling, and the end result could be an iPhone that finally delivers all-day battery without compromise. This is important because Apple has spent years chasing efficiency. Every year, small gains were made, but it never felt like battery life made a giant leap forward. With the iPhone 17 Pro, it finally feels like Apple may have cracked the formula: bigger batteries, smarter cooling, and more efficient displays. But there's also a bigger shift happening quietly in the background. And that's the removal of the physical SIM tray in more countries. For years, Apple has been slowly pushing eSIM technology. In the US, the iPhone 14 dropped physical SIM entirely. Now, with the iPhone 17, more regions in Europe and Asia are moving in that same direction. It won't disappear everywhere. China, for example, will likely keep physical SIM trays for now. But Apple's end goal is clear: one day, every iPhone will be eSIM only. And while this does make setup easier in some cases, it also means users lose a bit of flexibility, especially those who rely on swapping SIMs when traveling internationally. For now, it's a split world. But make no mistake, physical SIM trays are living on borrowed time. And then there's pricing. This year, things are looking a little different. The leaks suggest that only one model is getting a price increase, the base iPhone 17. It's expected to rise by $100, going from $999 to $1,099. But in exchange, Apple is doubling the base storage from 128 GB to 256 GB. So, technically, you're paying the same price per gigabyte. It just looks like a price hike because there's no cheaper 128 GB option anymore. For the other models, pricing looks steady. The cheapest iPhone May 17 still start at $799, which is a surprise given rising tariffs and manufacturing costs. If Apple manages to hold that line, it'll be a strong message: yes, iPhones are expensive, but they're not getting more expensive across the board. At least, not yet. And finally, let's touch on the accessories. Apple is making some unusual choices this year. First, they're reportedly bringing back the bumper case, a callback to the iPhone 4 days. The idea is to keep the phone slim while still offering edge protection. But realistically, most people will probably skip it. The bigger accessory shift is the move to tech-woven cases. These are meant to replace fine woven, which was widely criticized for being fragile and wearing out too quickly. Tech-woven looks sturdier, with a thicker weave, but based on leaked photos, the design may not be very appealing. Apple is clearly trying to move away from leather for environmental reasons, but it's unclear if tech-woven will truly win people over. And then there's the lanyard. Yes, Apple is adding lanyard support to official cases again. It feels like a strange throwback to the iPod Touch era, where Apple tried a similar approach. Whether anyone actually uses it in 2025 is another question entirely. But Apple seems convinced it's worth offering. So, to sum up this first section, the iPhone 17 Pro is shaping up to be a major shift in design and functionality. A new camera bar tied to antennas. Aluminum frames with better cooling. Brighter displays. Bigger batteries. Reverse wireless charging. And accessories that are, let's just say, unusual. It's not just another iPhone. It feels like Apple is laying the foundation for what the next decade of iPhones will look like. And while some choices, like dropping titanium or covering up clear cases, might feel odd at first, the bigger picture is starting to make sense.